let's call this special meeting of the Airport Commission to order on March the 5th at I've got about 8 minutes after 11. The first order is the motion to amend or adopt the agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt or accept?
I'll move.
Do I have-
Adoption and exception. Mhm.
Yeah. Jeff, do you second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Public forum. Is there anybody? I don't see anybody on. So we'll move on to the action items. Item 4.01, response grant and budget neutral amendment. I assume that would be Marie? Or who's going to take that? Are we just going to move on?
Dean, would you like me to speak to this?
Yes, please.
All right, so we are excited to be getting another round of this, we'll call it CARES Act 2 money, right? The stimulus money that is coming from the government has given it to the FAA, and they've had a formula to give it to airports. So we haven't received, we don't have a grant in hand, but this is going to give us permission to go ahead and sign the grant. We've applied for, there is a couple of things happening on the memo. We have the money that is coming under the second stimulus package is being, the majority of it is very, very similar to the CARES Act money. And we're calling it the CRISA money. And then there's a small piece, 147,000 that is related to help concessionaires. So total of these two grants that are coming, so the second stimulus package is $4,004,000. And so that's really great news, and we're really excited by that. So we're expecting to get those grants whenever they issue them, but we've applied for them to let them know that we do indeed need them and want them. The second aspect of this particular memo here and what we're putting forth in front of you, since we're getting additional monies, we did find that we had several accounts that, you know, I keep monitoring them to see where our spending is. And we built a very, very tight budget when we brought forth this budget for this fiscal year. We have some accounts that are running very low in funds that are not going to cover all the required expenditures that we need to do. These are safety, a lot of these are safety related things or monitoring requirements under the airfield. And so we thought it was a good time to bring forward and amend our expense budget for those items that we know we need additional funding in. We're not recognizing that we're going to use all this revenue this year. We may, but we're just recognizing a part of the revenue from an accounting standpoint. But we want permission to go ahead and be able to sign those grants as soon as we receive them. And that is what we're asking the commission to do today.
Any questions?
Bree, can you just talk a little bit about the component to concessionaires? And what does that mean exactly? Is that like skinny pancake, or is it, what is that?
What's in the news?
Right. So I'm happy to do that. As part of this, they wanted to emphasize and give some relief to the concessionaires at the airports, knowing that they are also hurting. And they wanted to kind of, we get this money in, but we don't distribute it directly to the concessionaires. So this was an attempt by the government, by the FAA, to provide some relief. So what we're doing is we're taking a look at our concessionaires, which would look at, you know, the primary ones that are renting. This is not the airlines, okay? This is going to be like the car rental companies, Hudson News. We're taking a look at Skinny. We're taking a look at the primary concessionaires that we have in our terminal that are paying, like, we'll call them minimum annual guarantees. And we're coming up with a fair, we have to allocate it fairly across. So we've identified that population of those concessionaires, and they will be spreading this $147,000. So it's going to provide some relief to them, which is, they badly need it as well. So it's a good thing.
Are they also eligible to apply for their own grants, independent of the airport?
That's a great question. And I don't know what other stimulus package are available to them. Gene, do you know?
I know that Skinny has done quite well with their PPP, and I think they've also been very entrepreneurial. They've gotten a lot of work from the state and been making meals, for folks. So I think they're going to probably be one of the success stories when this is done. I think they've done well. Hudson News, on the other hand, I don't think has gotten as much or received as much, and has certainly been, asking and talking to us about it. And we just don't really have anything to give anybody but what we're going to be getting, and they will get their percentage of whatever this is. It's not a lot of money compared to what their sales have been, but it's a token, and it's something that's coming from, through the FAA.
Who, who decides who gets what percentage of the money, Gene? Does the airport administration make
There's
that?
a formula, Jeff, that we have to follow.
Yeah.
So we'll basically look at everything, and then it'll be allocated by a formula. So it's not like we really have a choice. We have formulas to follow, and we will follow those,
Yeah.
and we'll give them what they're able to get.
This doesn't have to go through the city administration or council, does it?
I don't believe so, but it really depends on how much it is.
Okay, all right.
What do you think?
So the grant and permission to sign these grants, we're bringing forth to the Board of Finance, City Council for authorization to sign these grants and amend the budget. And Jeff, I think what you're asking is in the relief that we give to the concessionaires, if that has to go down.
Yes,
That
yes.
doesn't not. We'll have the authority under this to, what we do need to require, we will put together our allocation based on those formulas and the percentages. We have to submit that to the FAA. They will sign off on it. They want to make sure everybody's doing it fairly. So just because if we can't say, I like this car rental company more, I'll give them more. It has to be equitable, and we have to demonstrate that. So
Okay.
we're going to do that. And once we get the grant, we'll be submitting our application on how we want to fairly and squarely allocate these funds, and the FAA will sign off on it, and then we'll be able to apply it toward, we'll be able to apply it toward upcoming payments in lieu of having to pay us back. They won't have to pay us some part of it, and then we get that money back from the FAA. That's how it's going to work.
All right, any other questions? So let's move this forward. Do I have a
I move approval.
second, Jeff?
Yep.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
4.02, excuse me, I'm reading from my Passero Associates lease. So do we have a motion, and then we'll have discussion?
I'll move it.
Second.
F is second. All right, who's going to explain this? Please.
Gene, you want me to do that?
Yeah, go ahead, Nick.
Not too much to this one. This is a simple office lease. The building is right next to the air traffic control tower underneath in the brick portion of it.
Yeah,
Just a single office down there. Passero Associates is actually an aviation consultant. We use them quite a bit, mostly through our master planning and some other planning and environmental pieces that we have here. And they're starting up a new office in the Vermont area. So this is a simple office lease for that space.
what's the terms?
It's going to be a month-to-month term. So it's about $5,000. Excuse me, it's about $400 a month. All their utilities are on them, and it's a month-to-month term in a pretty small area over there.
Okay, questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4.03, UIC permit management compliance assistance. Helen, would you like to?
I'll move it, yeah.
All right, and I see Jeff nodding or showing. Are you going to second, Jeffrey?
Second.
Okay, discussion. I assume this would be Larry?
Larry, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Yeah, this is a couple years ago, we came before you and got approval for a 1-year extension on the previous contractor doing this. This is to do all the monitor reporting, analytical sampling, and checks of groundwater and surface water related to the underground injection control system, which consists of 4 underground injection control systems, which are big leach fields that take the stormwater that during the winter months has glycol in it and injects it into the ground. We have down gradient monitoring wells that monitor that to ensure compliance, that we're not impacting down gradient water. This, we put it out for an RFP. We received, I think this one was, we received 7 or 8 proposals, very competitive. And we selected this, they're all qualified. This contractor on average is $27,000 a year more than what we were paying. So it's, so we're moving forward. So we don't have to do this every year because it's a lot of work for these, because there's so many permits and stuff. We're asking for a 5-year term on this.
Questions from anyone? That sounds very reasonable, by the way.
Yeah. Can you just, I read everything and I thought it was a $27,000 savings. Did I
Yeah,
get that wrong?
Per year, yes.
Oh, I thought you just said it was $27,000 more. I mean, yeah, okay.
No, it's 27 per year.
Got it.
Based on what we were paying before. Okay,
That's how I read it. I just wondered if I read it wrong.
you're right, Helen. He did say that.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No further questions on this motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. 4.04 stormwater permit management. Sounds very similar to what we just discussed.
Right. Do you want me to go?
Yes, please.
All right. Obviously, the airport has significant stormwater infrastructure, hundreds of manholes, large scale infiltration basins and outfalls that have to be monitored, sampled, all the same things as the UIC, but this is surface water versus groundwater. And this is another, this time we received 7 or 8 proposals. We ended up going through our selection process similar to the UIC, and we selected EIV to do this. And this is a savings of $69,000 a year on average over the next 5 years compared to what we were paying or would have paid with the previous contractor. So again, you know, between the two, I think we've been talking about hopefully $100,000 in savings a year to the airport by putting a lot of effort into this and getting this result. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. Any questions? So let's,
Hey, Jeff, one thing which wasn't part of everybody's review when we did the evaluation, both these
Yeah.
companies are DBEs and women-owned businesses, which we have a plan at the airport. So that's just an interesting note that both these contractors are women-owned businesses.
well, that's fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations on that. So let's, ready to vote on this stormwater. All in favor?
I'll move approval. We
Okay,
haven't done that yet.
sorry. Where's Bill when I need him? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4.05, again, we have an agreement stormwater system with South Burlington.
You want me to take it from here?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
All right, so of the multiple permits that are being monitored or managed from what we just spoke about, we have this permit called the Municipal Separate Stormwater System, which has a requirement of a flow restoration plan, which recommends best management practices at the airport and surrounding area. This specific project relates to the Potash Brook and its clean, assistance in cleanup. Back years ago, before I was here, there was a memorandum of agreement signed that we would work with South Burlington and, to improve surface water around the area. So that was signed. So this is part of this. This is about if you go down on the corner of Airport Drive and Airport Road, you know, as you're pulling off Williston Road, right on the corner there, there's a lot. There will be basically a 31-foot by 103-foot leach field. It's not the chambers that they did on DuPont underneath the ground, an infiltration basin with a few diversion structures underground that will take that flush of dirty water and treat it before it gets released back to the stormwater system, which improves the water quality of the Potash Brook and ultimately Lake Champlain. Just for good information on top of that, back when this agreement was signed, the airport wasn't going to be allowed to take advantage of all the millions of dollars in improvements we've made over the last couple of years on our stormwater improvement because they were proposed projects. However, over the last year, we worked to get the state to agree that our projects, because there was impervious area before we did these projects, it was just new impervious area, which was about the same size, which allowed us, so now they're going to allow us to count. So we've always had the option to go at our own, but also work with South Burlington. Any questions? So I know there's a lot there. So this is a big leach field underground. You won't see it. And it's to help treat stormwater before it's released to the Potash Brook.
Is this the picture that has a, what do you call it? A rec path that goes over it, or is that the next one?
There is, if Helen, as you might know, we've gone through the master planning process for our landscaping plan as part of the airport, because every time we do a project at the airport, there has to be so much, you know, a building project contributed to landscaping. So we needed an out to spend money on landscaping where we couldn't do it in the immediate area of projects. So we came up with a landscaping master plan, and part of that landscaping master plan shows a walking path over this area too.
Oh, okay.
Down the road, and we're working, you know, that's just another whole thing we're doing, so.
Okay, that's not built yet, but that's a proposal, or
No,
you're
no,
just,
it'll come in phases. You'll see we're gonna be before the South Burlington DRB soon on the first phase, the entrance off Williston Road and Airport, Airport Drive for our
Right.
first phase of the landscaping master plan in the next few weeks.
thank you.
So I guess I'll move to approve 4.05, the agreement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 4.06, digital IETS contract with AAAE. Who is going to take that?
I'll move it if you want to do that first.
Okay, that's fine. Jeff, nod your head if you want a second. Second. All right, now explain these alphabet soups to us.
Shelby and Nick will go over that for you.
Okay,
The AAAE IETS system, you mean?
yes, please.
So AAAE means American Association of Airport Executives. We work with them. They host many conferences for the industry all over the country. They help us in legislative issues as well as training conversations. So that's what AAAE is. The IETS is the Interactive Employee Training System, which is exactly what it implies. It's an online interactive video training system. When anybody comes here, an airline employee, a Hudson News, a private pilot, Heritage Aviation, you name it, we require, so does FAA and so does TSA, requires SIDA training or secured identification area training specific to how you and where you walk and drive out on our airfield. This program will allow us to completely put our training material, our videos are unique, and we're going to actually have quite a bit of our own staff videoing a lot of this material so that these employees can take this training online versus what we have been doing, which was in the classroom training, which, as you can imagine, is not appropriate during COVID. This is going to be a huge benefit to us to have to not only follow COVID procedures, which we've been doing these trainings over Zoom, which is not the most ideal situation, but over time, it's going to help us create a more efficient, better flow, and much higher level of training for SIDA, for that security zone, for driving out on our airfield into different zones that we have identified out on the airfield. So that's what all of this is putting it all, packaging it all, so that somebody can take, so employees can take this training online, receive their proper training. There's a couple of residual trainings after this that are more practical, like actually driving with myself or some of our operations staff, and then getting the credentials they need to work at this airport.
Does this have a continuing education component to it?
It really doesn't, no. Some of AAAE offers a lot of that, like during some of their conference type of stuff. But this is strictly a TSA and an FAA requirement to receive the credentials needed to be employed at this airport, or any airport for that matter. This is not just unique to our airport.
Okay.
By the way, I wholeheartedly endorse this. This is, I think, so important to what we represent and what Nick's new job is, increasing the safety and the proficiency of the people that are out there. It's confusing, it's stressful, and there's always room for error. And the better you can teach the topic, so the more proficient the people are that are out there, we want them to feel like this is second nature to them. And this will allow us to achieve, we believe, those goals. It should come natural. It should be more exact. It should be our airport. The topic, the way the material is now, I think it really depends how you learn, but this will allow us to really be in the person's mind. We'll be learning with them. We'll be able to change it. It's the right tool for today for BTV, and I'm very excited personally, to see this and also to up what I think will be the safety level. We are very safe already, but I think it'll make it that much more safe.
Great.
Thank you. So all in favor of the last item, 4.06? Aye.
Aye.
So before we adjourn, I'd like to say go Cats go. They play tomorrow at 4 o'clock on ESPN Plus.
I second that. All in favor?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So do I have a motion to adjourn?
Hey,
So
Jeff,
moved.
Jeff,
Oh,
Jeff,
Larry has something.
I have a clarification. Helen, just to further answer your question, you did see that on the plan, but that was just to show that once it ever gets built, that path, it's not impacted by this system, or this system's not impacting our ability to provide.
Okay, yeah.
Right, thanks.
That's
Thank
quite
you.
all right. Okay, it was a PS. Okay. All right, now we'll say all in favor to adjourn. We did it.
Aye.
Let's go.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Good weekend.
Bye.
Well,